Well, it appears the Canadian Championship between Forge FC and Toronto FC might be falling victim to COVID-19 pandemic restrictions here. As we know, Forge FC has not been able to train. And now we're hearing, gentlemen, that there are reports that March 20th game may in fact be postponed and that the spot will be given to Toronto FC to go on to represent in Concacaf Champions League. As we know, that first game will be April 7th against Lyon. And the game will be played at another date. Ollie, if I come to you first with this one, I mean, is this the right decision? If this is true, if they do in fact postpone it, do you think that this is actually the right move for them to make at this time?
Yeah, I think it is the right move. I think it's the right move not to play the game right now with all the issues we have going on. Obviously, someone has to go to the Champions League. And I think it's the right move that is Toronto FC, just given they are training and they are obviously much more match ready to take on that tie. I think Forge deserve credit. I think they could have dug their heels in here and made this really difficult. The fact that what we're hearing suggests that they haven't, and they've been willing to accept this is a positive from them and to be commended, I think. It sounds as if they may get some kind of compensation for that in the form of potentially hosting this game when it is played, whenever that is, in hopefully in a month or two's time or sometime in the summer. But yeah, I think it's the right call. The big issue, and the one I think we have to continue to ask questions about, is why are Forge not training? Why have they not been granted that exemption? And why has the CPL in general not been granted that exemption that Toronto FC has by the provincial government? And while that is still the case, you know, pre-season for the CPL season is going to come up pretty quickly. So that has to get resolved. And we're still not sure why it hasn't. So that's a question for me to keep asking.
I'll go a step further, and I'll suggest it's the only decision to be made, Andy. Look, I commend Canada Soccer, both Toronto FC and Forge FC, clubs with real ambition. You know, clubs that had every right to dig in to try to get theirs and this game played on the best term possible for their club in all parties. This was not easy. This was complicated in terms of like government availability and willingness to pass legislation to allow teams to train, international dates, player availability, now COVID cases. This was next to impossible to stage this game on March 20th, April 3rd, when you know you're going to go play in altitude and like it just wouldn't have worked. So this is a compromise. Everyone is making a compromise here. I know Forge would have loved to have been back in the Concacaf Champions League, but let's be honest, if you're not going to be ready to play a Canadian Championship game, how can you go into continental competition and be ready and have it be safe for the players to play? No sports scientist, no one around the game would advocate that whatsoever. So I think common sense has prevailed here. Kudos to those involved showing leadership to push this across the finish line. And fingers crossed, sooner rather than later, this game is actually played and we can crown a champion for the 2020 Voyageurs Cup.